Hello, welcome to a quick demonstration on various use cases wherein the customer aging report may be different to the AR ledger report upon reconciliation. All right, so the first instance is that the credit memo that is being applied to an AR invoice. Um, Okay, so in this situation we're in, the credit memo may be dated, let's say, maybe bearing a date after the AR invoice date. So in our example in here, you have the credit memo, which is dated the 5th of the January, while the invoice is actually dated 30th of November. So as what you can see here, so yeah, this is basically the assumption that they have the same amount. So it's just a matter of netting this AR invoice with the AR adjustment. The only difference is that the credit memo is actually dated, let's say, to a period after the AR invoice. But the actual payment, as what you can see in here, is actually processed in another period as well. So the payment, which is the a transaction to net the AR invoice with the credit memo, is even being dated like prior to the credit memo date or GL posting date of the credit memo. So in this case, the payment to offset the AR invoice with the credit memo is actually dated 31st of December 2022. All right, so what's the implication like? So let's have a look at the customer aging. So for example, if I run the customer aging 31st of December 2022, and this is for my customer, and I'd like to make sure that I'm actually running it, and this demo is based on the GL posting date. And if I click on view, all right, so you will notice in here that it's appearing like 0. But if I have a look at that's the customer aging. But if I look at the AR ledger report, so I'm running it again as 31st of December 2022 for this customer. And I wanted to ensure that that's for this location as well, and more importantly for the GL posting date. So we can compare it accordingly with the AR ledger. So if I click on view, you will notice that the customer aging report is showing 0, but the AR ledger is showing 1,100. All right, so that's the discrepancy primarily brought by the fact that if you're looking at the customer aging, the payment has already been done, right? Meaning the application of the credit memo has been done on the month of December. So this invoice wouldn't show as something that is receivable at the end of December. That's why the customer aging is already 0. That is, there's nothing to be collected anymore because the payment has been dated again within that month. Right, so the invoice is no longer recognized. But why is it appearing in AR Ledger? Remember, with AR Ledger, you have here a balance still of 1,100. It's all because, right, so this one, the invoice, when it comes to AR Ledger, is not considered as, settled yet because the credit memo that is being used to offset the AR invoice is dated a date after the run date, right? In our end, in our example here, it's actually the 31st of December. But remember, the AR adjustment is already being posted, which is few days after that, which is the 5th of January. So that's why the AR ledger will still be showing as 1,100 in here, which is the AR invoice itself. Again, it's all because the AR adjustment, which is a credit memo, has just been posted days after the GL posting date, or the payment date. In this case, this is the 5th of January. All right. So if I run the GL ledger reports, I have here pre-run earlier. So I just filtered it based on, run it again on 31st of December for that particular accounts receivable in there, and for the customer too. So you will notice in here that the GL actually matches my subsidiary ledger. All right. It's just that the customer aging and the AR ledger don't match. It's all because the credit memo has been processed after, or the GL posting date of the credit memo is after the payment date itself. All right. And it's actually, and the date again of the AR adjustment, the credit memo, is after the run date, which is the 31st of December. All right. And another example as well is that this is a common case wherein you have your AR invoice and the jail posting date, for example, in this one here is, 0106, which is the 6th of January 2021. But as what you can see here, the payment is actually way before the invoice. Right. So in this case, it's actually the 19th of December 2022. All right. That will certainly cause the discrepancy. So let's double check with this one here. So same date, just different customer. Okay. Let me just run this one here. All right. Again, with this one here. So assuming that, this is the only transaction for that customer, basically, and it was just paid prior to the GL posting date of the invoice itself, right? So I have here, so when you run the customer agent report, nothing is appearing in there. The reason being is that if you run the customer aging as of the 31st of December, you will notice that the invoice in here, even if it's being dated like a few days after the run date, but it was actually paid during the month of December. So as of the 31st of December, this invoice is already deemed paid by the customer aging, which means that customer aging wise, there's nothing to be collected from, right? So that's why it's coming up 0. But let's have a look when it comes to AR ledger. So if I change this again to the customer, all right, and I run it based on GL posting date still, why do you have negative 550, right? Why negative 550? It's all because, remember, this payment was actually being recorded or posted with the date of 19th of December 2022. So as of 31st of December 2022, the only transaction that is being recorded in the AR ledger is just the payment. So the payment itself is actually, debiting your, bank account, right, as a receipt of payment, and crediting your AR. So if you look at the AR ledger, so assuming that the exact amount is being paid anyways in here, amount paid is 550 AUD. So it is appearing as negative in here in your AR ledger. Is all because with AR ledger wise, the only transaction recognized is the payment, which is being dated on the 19th of December 2022, as what is being indicated in this report. So that's the discrepancy in there. Again, customer aging will not recognize that AR invoice is all because as of run date, which is the 31st of December 2022, there was already being a payment that's already being made. In fact, 19th of December. So customer aging will not show that anymore. There's nothing to receive payment from. However, when it comes to AR ledger, so it would consider the payment that you've done, what we've actually done prior on or prior to the run date, which is the 31st of December. In fact, this one here is the 19th of December. So that's the only transaction that would be recorded in AR ledger, a deduction to the accounts receivable in this case. That's why it's coming up as negative in here, negative 550. So if we run this report again, so let me just change this to that customer. And this is the general ledger report anyways that I'm running. So look at this one here. So this would actually match your AR ledger. Negative 550. General ledger report. Accounts receivable is negative 550. All right. So in order for this situation or to prevent this situation from happening, we have a preference under, if you go to accounts receivable, setup, configuration, and if you scroll further down, this one here. So under your enable functionality section, you have payment dates must be greater than AR invoice date. So in this case, the payment, which is the 19th, right? That's the 19th of December, would not be allowed for an AR invoice that is being dated after that supposedly payment date. So this wouldn't be allowed at all if we have that preference. So it's best to have that preference ticked to avoid, similar situation as this, just to avoid any discrepancy between your customer aging report. Okay, just to summarize, maybe just to us to avoid the situations from happening, with the credit memo, just ensure that the credit memo is actually dated on or the credit memo should be on or before the payment dates as well. And also just ensure that you have that preference with accounts receivable, that the payment date should always be greater than the AR invoice date. It just makes sense, right? That payment should actually be processed on or after the AR invoice date. So hope this quick demonstration helps. Thank you.